Secretary.
Okay, we should begin again. Okay, I've called to order the Bloomington Municipal Advisory Council meeting on Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. And Jackie Cox, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. Okay, roll call the MAC members, please. Erica?
Gary Grosich,
Here.
Diane Mendez Cantu, Jackie Cox,
Here,
Larry Burgos, Eric Scott,
Here.
Betty Gosney. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have three. We have a quorum to conduct business, right? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have introduction of dignitaries in attendance by phone. Do we have anybody out there online or on the phone?
Greg Young, West Valley Water District.
Good evening, Greg.
West Valley Water District.
Good evening.
Good evening. I missed that. Who's there from West Valley?
Scott Olson, Community Affairs Representative.
Okay. Hello, Scott. Okay. Anybody else out there? Dignitaries? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to approval of minutes. June 2nd, 2020.
I move to approve the minutes of June 2nd, 2020.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion and second. Thank you, Eric. Do we need a roll call on that?
The holidays, so I will make contact with him
Okay.
this week, and hopefully we can have him join here. He'll introduce himself to everyone in the community.
Okay. I was actually asking if you knew who was going to be, if any of these agencies were going to be in attendance.
Oh, as far as the ones listed here, sorry.
That's okay.
I do have a report. Oh, Julie, I have a chat function. If you have anything you want to give, you can type it here and I can announce it out for you.
Okay.
Sorry, Julie Leba from Congresswoman Torres' office is also on the line. She just is having some mic issues, so,
Okay.
but no announcements.
From Norma Torres?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Welcome, Julie, if you can hear us. Okay, Sheriff's Department? Okay, County Fire? No. And Eric, if I can note, when we get these agencies back, can we get an after action report for the MAC regarding July 4th?
Yes.
Fireworks is becoming such an issue. It'd be interesting to know how many citations they wrote and if they had any fires and what exactly took place in Bloomington over the 4th.
Absolutely.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. And Colton Joy Unified School District, I know Board Member Fuentes won't be here, but I guess he gave you some information to relate.
He did. So Board Member Isabel Fuentes wasn't able to join us tonight. He did want me to share that schools will start on August 5th, and they will continue with distance learning, so they will not be in-person classes, at least at the beginning of the fall semester. If anyone has any questions, the board meeting from June 25th is where the board discussed and ultimately made their recommendation. He did mention that it's still fluid, but as of right now, the school year will begin with distance learning. And he is always available to answer questions if anyone has any concerns specifically related to schools. You can always send them to me and I can get them to him as well if you don't have his contact information, but that's the update from the right now.
Okay, thank you, Erica. Okay, Erica.
I don't know if Greg or Scott have any West Valley Water.
So we have legislative updates. Did Julie Leva want to give us an update from Norma Torres?
She said she has no announcements at this time.
Okay, hearing none, I guess we're going to move on. Office of Supervisor Josie Gonzales.
All right, guess I'm up. First up, I'm not sure if folks have received a flyer in the mail, but our code enforcement will be hosting a community cleanup event in Bloomington next Saturday, so Saturday, July 18th. They will be by appointment only. And if all the appointment slots aren't full, they can accommodate some, but given social distancing standards, they've opted to move to an appointment system. So I know they were planning on mailing something out to the community. Has anybody received anything in the mail from code enforcement about a cleanup?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. I will get that out, and I'll also make sure that we share it on our social media channels. But please feel free. I know Roxanne Bezo usually asks about a cleanup. I don't know if anyone has her contact information, but I'd be happy to contact her as well. They'd like people to schedule appointments by Friday of this week, but I know that they will continue to take appointments beyond that date. They just need an idea of how many appointments it's looking like they're going to fill. So, it's a great time to take advantage. Folks have been at home, so I'm sure there's lots of stuff that people would like to get rid of. So, and again, that's going to be Saturday, July 18th at Kessler Park from 8 to noon. And they're taking appointments. I can give the phone number here if folks like it. So the phone number to call for appointments would be 909-266-3477. And again, that's 909-266-3477. And that's to schedule an appointment for the community cleanup event at Kessler Park. I wanted to also, I know that we've had some conversations with Gary. It was a topic of conversation at last month's MAC meeting regarding some of the large amount of vehicles that were parked on Santa Ana. So I did want to let you know that our office has been in contact with both the Sheriff's Department and CHP to try to get those vehicles tagged and ticketed if they were not moved. As a result of that conversation with Gary, we're actually working with our Public Works Department to see if we can actually just get that curb completely painted red so we can avoid all of that, the vehicles that have been parked there, some of them for probably going on 9 months or longer. So I want to thank Matt for bringing that to our attention. I know a lot of folks see things and may assume that someone else reported it, or, it just doesn't cross their mind to report something like that. But if we don't know about an ongoing issue, by the time we're made aware of it, it's been going on for quite some time. So I appreciate the MAC and those community members that continue to reach out so that we can not only solve the immediate issue, but work on longer term solutions on, alleviating some of these trouble spots where we know that folks are, taking advantage of no one really. So work on that and provide updates, but I know we're trying to get some things accomplished and really try to find solutions for problems that could be easily solvable. So I did want to mention that we are working, with multiple agencies to try to make sure that that's not a continuing problem. I also wanted to discuss, and I know we only have 3 MAC members here tonight, but we talked about having a community contest to kind of design a Bloomington logo for our Cedar overpass that, they're going through the design phase right now. So just to provide an update for that, our Public Works and Real Estate Services Department has been working with Caltrans for our early plan submittals, which they'll work on by the end of this month. They also, and they do need to send some comments to Caltrans, probably sometime in the early part of August. So with the school year kind of being transitioned to distance learning, We may need to get a little creative about how we're going to kind of advertise the design contest. The department really loved the idea of going out to the community or having a student design a logo. I just think we're going to be in a tighter time frame to get that done, and I think that we can absolutely do it, and I'm committed to making that work. But I did want to make MAC aware that we are going to be on a time frame of probably about a month, five weeks or so, to get everything in place and kind of see if we can get a design contest up for folks. So I know we don't have a special presentation, and I know typically we'll go into like new business, but if the MAC's okay with having this conversation right now, I just kind of wanted your thoughts about the ideas. I do think it would be great to have student design submission. It just might be a little tricky with schools not being in such.
Would you like comments on that?
I would, yeah. I know we typically will wait, but we can be a little unorthodox tonight. So,
Eric or Jackie, do you have any thoughts on this?
No, I just had a question about, you were talking about the parking. What
Yes.
about the outdoor mall, Erica? Has anything been done about that?
I know that code enforcement and the sheriff's department were working together on that. I will have to talk to Dan. Actually, Dan took the lead on that project, so I'll need to circle back with him. But I know that he directly spoke to our captain at the Fontana station, so that we can hopefully try to eliminate that. From what I've heard and from what I've seen, it clearly hadn't minimized anything. So I'll get an update for you, Jackie.
Both of those signs say, the one says no parking, and it has a code number on the sign. And there's two signs that says private property, and both of them have code numbers on them. So I don't know what the big deal is. It's terrible. These people are not wearing masks. They're not practicing anything. No wonder we can't get a hold of this thing.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's awful. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
I was going to ask after the, when we had our last MAC meeting, and please help me if I'm misremembering, but in addition to the parked trucks, I think we also had concerns about the amount of truck traffic that is moving on Santa Ana. And we had talked about having a study conducted to see whether one or more stop signs would be needed between, I think it was Larch and Riverside. And has anything moved forward with that?
Yeah, so actually, I am scheduled to have a meeting with Public Works. So I did, Gary made his formal request at the meeting, and I did give that directly to the Director of Public Works. So my hope is that we can get all of this wrapped up, meaning a traffic study started, because obviously they'll need to study. So, but yes, I did make the formal request on behalf of the resident, which typically is what they need when they do either a speed study or a traffic study. So I did formally submit Gary's result.
Okay, thank you. And when we talk about trucks that are parked there, is this also referencing food trucks that are parked on Santa Ana? Because there seem to be an increasing number of them.
So it was vehicles that looked pretty much abandoned or stolen, trucks, food trucks I wasn't aware of. Are we talking about on the north side of Santa Ana, or are you talking about where all the vendors are setting up on the south side?
I'm talking again between Larch and Riverside. There just seem to be an increased number of food trucks there lately. I don't know if that was gearing up for the 4th of July holiday and if it'll now go into abeyance or not, but it did seem to be an increase from what I'm used to.
Okay. Erica, are you going to respond to that, or?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm taking notes, but yeah, I'll include that in that. Eric, sorry.
Okay. Along the same lines, Eric brought it up. I was going to, but he did. We're also talking about as part of that request, getting some no truck signs on Santa Ana. And I don't recall if this happened before the last meeting or after, when I discovered doing research that Cactus is not a designated truck route, and FedEx been using it. I did have a conversation with the with the Rialto city manager about this. He said give him a couple of weeks to get his budget done and get past the holidays, and he would start working on that. And uh, you know, he was kind of concerned about it. And if they're operating a business, and they weren't able to ever produce the conditions of approval to see what they were allowed to do. But I also noticed just recently that there's a sign at on the north side of Slover at Cactus, pointing. It says truck route, and it says straight ahead, and it says to the left, which would be Cactus. Now, the current Rialto general plan that I looked at online doesn't show Cactus being a truck route, and neither does the county's plan. So I'm not quite sure what's going on, but it's just a huge amount of trucks traveling, and then they turn and they go up Santa Ana, they go up Europa. They pretty much go where they please, and it's really a nuisance in this part of Bloomington. You know, there's so many things that we can do, Erica. That kind of leads me to another question I was going to ask if we're ever going to get have a workshop to get a general plan update, or because you know I really believe one of the solutions would be to turn El Ravino into a truck route. Right now, there's no signs saying no truck route, and it's just a rural area with very few houses. It's got huge right of way. You could double the width of that, no problem. And but I'm not sure how much of that is in whose jurisdiction. And then it came up also in conversation with some other people that apparently TXI, Europa Valley approved their project. And I was actually talking with the, I guess would be the person who was promoting it on their behalf at Europa Valley. And I said, well, what did we get? And basically they said, we got nothing because it was determined that the county was sending more traffic that direction than they would be sending up Cedar. And I said, that's not the county's traffic. That's Rialto's traffic. And you know, I guess it's a little late, but it's just disappointing that, you know, I mean, I met with these people a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they were like, what can we do for Bloomington? And then I gave them over to the county staff for you guys to deal with them because it was above my pay grade.
Mhm.
And apparently, what I gather, we got nothing. So I just learned that just Friday. So I don't know if you have a comment on that or you even know that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware. That's the first time I've heard of it too, Gary.
Yeah.
So, and I do remember you making that handoff with the folks that had reached out to you and contacted you. And I believe our office did give them the appropriate folks, so I'm not sure where that conversation landed.
Yeah.
But I wasn't aware that the project was approved in the Valley.
Yeah, because Rialto is building well, they built them now, two huge warehouses just right across from Bloomington residents. And one of them is going to be an Amazon. It's going to have a huge amount of traffic. And if they can get, we can make El Ravino a truck route, they can go there, skirt the south end of Bloomington there and get out, go down to Agamonza and run into Riverside Avenue. And then we don't have to deal with them coming through all the residential neighborhoods and even more traffic down Cedar, you know, and that area, I've driven that El Ravino several times. And as I mentioned, it's wide open. I mean, you could easily make 4 lanes, and I don't even think you'd really have to have much of a take of property. I mean, they're back, and also there's warehouses there already, even though it says no, not a truck route. And the ones that aren't warehouses are engaged in trucking. So that area is pretty much gone industrial already. So it would make a lot more sense to have a truck route there than up Cactus for sure. And FedEx could go that way as well.
Yeah, and the supervisor is, you know, a member of that, you know, the Amiga, our JPA, so I can speak to her about to see if that's the appropriate venue to have those conversations, or if it's not, I'm sure we can identify which is.
Okay. All right. And then some other items that kind of updates on that people keep asking me about the gas station on Valley Boulevard? Anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can bring that up during the meeting with code, Gary.
Okay.
I've asked every single time you guys ask me, so
Okay.
maybe I'll take you guys asking them.
Okay. And and also board member Fuentes asked me to mention, and he may have mentioned it to you already, but apparently there's several shopping carts and quite a bit of trash in front of the truck yard just to the east of our library and senior housing.
Oh, he didn't mention that to me, but I'll
Okay.
make sure we can get that cleaned up.
Yeah, he asked me to tell you. He said it was pretty it was a big eyesore is the way he described it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else before we let Erica off the hook?
Nobody has any thoughts on the design logo contest? Do you guys want to think about it and get back to me?
I'm sorry, Eric. I did want to make a comment on that. So,
Okay.
isn't that going to be mainly fall on the school district and the charter schools' shoulders once we get the ball rolling? Or
It will. So I guess part of my question is I know we wanted to be inclusive of the entire community, and so I'm almost wondering if maybe we need to start reaching out to our community partners, and then I can kind of just design the framework for the contest, and that way, our schools are dealing with a lot right now, trying to figure out what their curriculum is going to look like for the school year. And I really don't want to miss the opportunity to reach out to, talented artists in the community. So I'm also wondering if you guys would be amenable to me kind of maybe drafting some type of framework and getting some comments and input. And we just kind of push it out through all of our community partners instead of going officially through the schools. Because I know that they've got other priorities right now, which are completely understandable. So that's kind of what I was looking for. Is if you guys
As
would be
far as-
open to that.
as far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry. Eric? As far as I'm concerned, that'd be great. I think. What about? I bypassed special districts, but I don't know if Aaron's even here. But what about tasking him with that? He's got his nose to the ground here in Bloomington, and
Yeah.
he might be a good person along with Angela to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll reach out to some folks this week, and I'll report back. But yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and I'm sure Aaron would love to do it. So.
MAC members, anything else for Erica? No?
No, I don't have anything.
Not for me.
Okay, thank you. Moving along, discussion items, old business, Outstanding Citizens Award. And Betty's not here this evening, I
And
believe.
we do have a couple folks to recognize. I know, we obviously haven't been able to meet in person since March. So we have folks waiting. If it's looking like we may not be able to have in-person meetings for a little bit, we could always make the decision that we can, I can, Betty can, the committee can drop it off with these businesses or this folks. We can kind of talk about what that looks like, but we do still have some folks in the queue to recognize.
Call from
Okay, next up, code enforcement. I guess we have an upcoming meeting with Jackie and myself in code enforcement. Is that correct, Erica? Coming up?
Yes, I believe we were working on dates earlier today, so that should be, I believe we were looking at scheduling one for, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I believe the dates were for next week. Yeah.
Okay,
We don't have a date yet, right, Erica?
No, I believe there were a couple of dates that should have been sent to you and Gary earlier today from our office.
Uh-huh.
yeah, Jackie, I spoke to Veronica. She's just waiting for you to give her. There's two different dates with several different times. So
Okay,
I told her I could make any of them, so it was up to you.
that's me too. I'm available.
Okay.
Okay, do you want me to just let her know that, Jackie, and then she'll go ahead and she'll schedule one for,
Yes.
whichever date works out best for staff?
Yeah, that's fine. Where are we going to meet?
I believe we're gonna do it, via conference call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're really limited on the in-person meetings right now at our office, so,
Oh, that's what I wondered.
I figured conference call would probably be easiest for everyone.
Okay.
All right. Okay, moving along, Cold Joe Unified School District Bridge Committee. We didn't have a meeting, this month, but, I did talk to Board Member Fuentes and, Frank Miranda. I sit on the, Measure G Bond Oversight Committee, and we had a meeting. And, Mr. Miranda said that they were working on, that letter, for the board regarding, the status of illegal trucks around their school facilities. So that is in process. So that's really the only thing, update on that. Topics for upcoming agendas. Homeless point in time count report from the whole, team presentation. Do you want to comment on that, Erica, or it's just?
It'll happen.
Okay. And then also, San Bernardino County CERT, program information.
Yeah, and I know, that's something I'm really, passionate about making sure that we get that meeting, that, presentation done, because at least then we can lay the groundwork, to hopefully get a CERT team started out in Bloomington. Obviously that will, exceed the time that we'll be in this office, but at least if we can get the ball rolling. I know, Eric and there were a couple of others, in the community that expressed interest about kind of maybe taking at least a role in that, not necessarily taking on the lead for the whole thing. But the staff will walk the community through that. But I do want to make sure I make those connections, while I still have the opportunity. So.
Okay, thank you, Erica. And then, new business. Do we have any new business to discuss this evening?
I'm sorry, I inadvertently forgot to add on your agenda for new business. Originally, when we approved the 2020 meeting calendar, the MAC did want to go dark in August for National Night Out. Obviously, things look a little different than any of us anticipated at the beginning of this year. So my guess is if there are any events that are happening, they will probably be virtual events, if at all. So that does still leave an opportunity for the MAC to have, an August meeting, which would be Tuesday, August 4th, if the MAC would like to.
Okay, MAC members, any comments?
What is your feeling about National Night Out events that are being held virtually?
I haven't heard anything as of yet, which is kind of surprising given that, August isn't that far away.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what our local, cities and organizations are planning on doing. But at this time, I don't know if any of our local partners are going to be hosting anything virtually this year, at least in our immediate area. And we do still have time because the MAC did leave that open. Gary, as the chair, he can always call a meeting. If you guys want to wait a few weeks and see if we get any word about any events that may be happening that night and then make that, decision, because Gary can call a meeting as the chair and we can make sure that we get notice out.
That would be okay with me if it was acceptable to Jackie and Eric. Are you guys?
That would be the way I would lean is let's wait and see, because National Night Out, even if it's virtual, it would be a way for people to get together remotely, and reach out from their homes, which increasingly would be a good thing. And I think it might be unfortunate, not that I don't think these meetings are important, but it might be unfortunate if you had to make somebody choose between them. That said, I don't know how many people are actually attending this meeting, so I don't know if it would be different in August.
Okay, Jackie, any comment on that?
I agree.
Okay, so
I don't think they'll have it.
okay, so we can make a decision, Erica. How much time do we need beforehand? A week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably a week, just to be on the safe side, so we can let folks know if we are going to hold a meeting. But yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, okay, because if there's not a lot of new business that comes up,
Absolutely.
we're not getting the agencies here to report,
Yeah.
and it's just difficult to really get stuff done or hear stuff without the public, and unless something comes out of our meeting with code enforcement or there's some other big issue that comes up, we probably just end up not having a meeting period. But it would be nice to keep it open in case there is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next up, community events. Anything on community events? Okay. Hearing nothing, we'll move on to public comment. Erica, do we have any public comment this evening?
I didn't receive any ahead of time, but I know there's a couple of call-in users, so there might be some folks on the line waiting to give public comment.
Okay, thank you. Are you going to identify them or?
So actually, it just shows up as call-in user until they identify themselves. So you can go ahead and ask if anyone's on the line that wants to provide public comment.
All right, I see 3 call-in users. If any of you would like to make a public comment, now's the time. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone, so I guess no comment this evening. We'll move on to member reports. Eric, would you like to got anything for the good of the order?
Briefly, number one, I hope everybody had a good and safe 4th of July holiday. It was extremely loud in Bloomington, and the fireworks went on for quite some time. So I'm assuming people had a good evening and a good weekend. I hope everybody is staying safe. I hope everybody is practicing their social distancing and wearing masks when they do need to go out, because that's important as cases continue to go up in San Bernardino County and other parts of California. We really do need to work together on reining that in. I did have one question, and I am not certain if this should have been new business or not, but I was curious to note I'm actually in the tract just south of Slover and just east of Cedar, and this was built back. We actually moved into this house back in 2000, and there were 2 very large lots flanking Cedar, right along Cedar, that were originally intended for a library. And since the library is now north of the freeway on Valley, those 2 lots are empty. And recently I've noticed that there are signs up listing them as available. And I'm wondering, what are they available for? What are they zoned for? Given the number of gas stations that are making proposals to move into the region, I was curious whether, since it was supposed to be a library, whether those 2 tracts, those 2 open expanses remain residential, or whether there's something else. Since they're in my backyard, it'd be interesting to know what might be moving in. So do we have any input on that, Erica?
Yes. So actually, those parcels are owned by, well, they were, I should say, they were owned by the county. They did go up for auction earlier this year. So the county did sell those. They are zoned commercial. We do know the parties who purchased the property, and they are marketing it as commercial, and it would not be a convenience store. So it would be kind of like a small strip of stores, kind of a business park is not a good way to describe it, but so it is zoned commercial, and the current property owner is looking to whether it's lease or build to suit there for a commercial business.
Okay. Just expressing some surprise, because this is, until I saw the signs, this is the first I'd heard of it. I'm surprised that this didn't come up with a MAC before. I know that remembering several years ago when there was talking about putting things in there, and many local people at the MAC meetings expressed concern that it was going to be something other than the library. And I understand that the library has moved, but I would have thought that if we're going to be developing these areas, that might have been something brought before the MAC rather than finding out about it after it's a done deal.
And that may be my fault. I thought I did mention that when it was going to be up for auction. But if I didn't, I apologize for that. But it was kind of deemed surplus from the county because, you know, we weren't going to use it for a library. I wasn't aware of the community concerns that it, you know, since it wasn't going to be a library, what that was going to be used for. So I apologize.
You should have heard David Jane on that one.
Well,
He was
yeah,
very clear.
I would have remembered it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not sure if that was kind of prior my tenure in the office.
I think it was before your time.
And I do apologize. I thought that I did mention it when it was going up for auction. But I will make sure that once we know what the property owner is going to do with that I make sure that that's announced here elsewhere.
Okay.
And Erica?
And that's it.
And it will not be a gas station.
Okay. Well, I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Jackie,
Oh, I'm fine.
you're good?
I'm
Okay.
fine.
All right. And you know, to Eric's point, you know, if it's zoned commercial, you know, a person buys it for commercial property, they can develop. I don't want to say whatever they want, but they could develop a commercial development. But I would hope that, like the last two people that wanted to come into Bloomington and do developments, that at that point, before anything got too far, that they would come to the MAC with a presentation of what they'd like to do when they get some plans and, you know, as potential tenants, and come to us for our, you know, input and blessing, hopefully. So it's not an issue. The thing I see about that property is it's so narrow. You know, I'd be concerned about the back of that thing sitting up against right across the street from a lot of homes. It's going to have to be handled in a very delicate manner. That property. It's an unusual because it's long and but it's not deep. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see what a developer can come up with that's going to fit in there and be aesthetically pleasing, especially as, like Eric said, you've got homes right directly behind the property. And you know, another item I failed to mention earlier that I kind of wanted to let my fellow MAC members know about. I've discussed it with Erica and Dan, but we have residential properties in Bloomington, 1 and 2 and 3 acre residential properties being offered for literally millions of dollars and being promoted in residential areas that we made it a point not to have not to have industrial development. And they're being basically wink, wink marketed as, you know, truck parking facilities or trucking companies. And for example, one property that recently came on the market, it's 1.87 acres. They're asking $2.3 million for it. It's got a kind of an old 2,200 square foot house on it with virtually no improvements to the property. And when they put the prospectus out, they highlighted the fact that there's an illegal truck yard next door, and there's a truck yard on the other side, and there's a warehouse right up the street, and what great proximity it has to the freeway and other thoroughfares where you could move a lot of goods very quickly, and very little to say about the house. So, and there's several other properties. Dan and I have discussed that. There's several other properties that are zoned residential in areas that we've basically told staff and the developers that keep your hands off these areas, and yet they're continuing to market them. So, you know, that's something that we all need to be aware of in our travels. Other than that, I just wanted to put that out there. That's really all I have. And I, you know, echo Eric's statements about be safe. I hope everybody had a fun and safe 4th. You know, they're being careful out there in the community. I know I own a restaurant, and it's a difficult time for everyone. You know, I'm in a situation where our management has to deal with a lot of people that think they shouldn't have to wear a mask, and an equal amount of people that think that you better wear a mask. And sometimes we're put in an awkward position of having to referee these social disputes. And it's a difficult situation for all of us. So hopefully, things will start to get better. We'll be able to get back to a normal life. That's all I had for this evening. So unless anybody has something, would call for
Well,
adjournment.
this isn't a normal life we're all living. It's a terrible life, and it's a lonely life. And when you have families and you can't go see your brand new babies and hold them, and it's terrible. It's just terrible. But we'll get over it. We got to be strong and follow the rules. Do what they tell you to do so we can get rid of this mess. It's just sad. So many people are paying no attention to the mask, no attention to 6 foot apart. So that's what's causing all this mess, I think. Just terrible. I think it's a very lonely life right now.
That's right.
That's all I have to say.
Any other comments before we move to adjourn? Can I get a motion
No.
for adjournment?
I move that the meeting adjourn.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, meeting is adjourned at 7:12. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You too.
Thanks, Eric.